Hey everybody, this is Doug. This is another quick video to talk about a question that was brought to me on email on how to create frames where something is a little irregular. So this was the example that was kind of given to me. Now normally when you're creating a frame folder, you're kind of limited to rectangular, at least at rectangular shape. You can kind of cut them linear or however later on, but you're starting off with a rectangle. With this kind of stuff, you're seeing you have these circles. Now you could go and, if I grab the rectangular frame, turn it into an ellipse, and then do a frame like that, and that kind of shows the problem. Well, twofold. One, each frame would be its own frame folder, which might not be a bad thing, except when they intersect, these frames will, one will just overlap the other. You're not going to get like a merging thing. You could do something similar, like let's say with a word balloon. And with the word balloon, you get the intersecting, but then you also have to deal with, well, two things. One, you don't get the a clear background. You're going to get the white background on this, and you're not getting the clipping that you would get with the mask on a frame layer. So I came up with another solution. What I'm going to do is create a new vector layer to start. If you're working with vectors like I'm about to, you can use like a lower DPI if you wanted to, but I just happen to work 600 DPI when I'm creating frame templates like I'm about to do. And so what I'm going to do now is just grab my elliptical tool. I set the brush size approximately to what this was, which is about 1 millimeter. I changed the setting, shape operation, to start from the center. Now I'm going to go start from about the center and create the approximate shape that it is. What I did notice when playing around with this little template that was given to me is that these ellipses aren't exactly even, so it doesn't completely matter. We want to try to approximate what this value was. Now, what I could do is I can go through and I could just redraw each of these, but what I'm going to do is actually just kind of cheat a little bit and duplicate the frame, or switch over to move layer, and while holding down the shift and cursor key, there we go. Now that they're next to each other, and now I'm going to merge the two layers, duplicate that, and there we go. Merge those, and now I have my four main frames here. I'm going to create a new vector layer, go back to the elliptical tool, hold down the shift key so I keep this as a circle. Again, approximate about like that, and let it go. Now go back to the move layer, tweak it a little bit until it looks about even, and merge that down. Now I have my main frames down. Now you'll notice that these sections are still overlapping, which we don't want if we want it to look like that. So here's a cool little trick, and this is why I went, one of the reasons why I went with vector layers. I'm going to switch over to the eraser. The vector eraser snap is on, and then what I do is select erase up to intersection. Erase, 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 and erase. Now if I hide that, boom, there is the initial frame. Next up is to take care of these scrolls. And there's two ways you can do this. You can either go through and just, like, draw the entire thing, or about find the middle, lay down a guideline like so, and just work on one half at a time. So what I'm going to do is switch over from the elliptical tool and turn it to the continuous curves tool, and zoom in, and really all I'm doing, I'm going to create a new vector layer, and really all I'm doing at this point is just tracing, double click, and that ends this particular segment. Come up. And cool little shortcut for one of these moments where you have like a sharp corner to turn. Hold down the command key on the Mac, hold down, I believe it would be the Alt key on Windows, and you'll see this little icon makes it a right corner. So we'll hit that, double click. There's that section. And one little jump cut later, I've now traced the first half of the scroll. Now, here's the other reason why I did this as a vector layer. What I can do if I set down my points and they're not quite how I want them, like they're not as smooth as I was hoping, I just go up to the object selector, select the line that I want to work on, and tweak any of the points as necessary. And there we go. It's pretty good. A little bit of overlap. We'll fix that later. Right now I'm just focused on getting the shape down. Now what I'm going to do is duplicate that layer, hit edit, transform, flip horizontal, apply to transform, and now move to layer and match things up to the other side. And again, because we're working vectors, can smooth out how things look. So, and zoom out. There we go. Now we have the top scroll set. Merge those two layers, and that's done. And one little jump cut later, we have our frames and we have the scrolls all made. The next order of business is, well, just merging these together. Merge this and then this, and now everything is down to one frame. Here's where the cool part comes in. I'm going to create a layer folder, put this right below the borders here. I'm going to actually turn this, label this border, and I'm going to label this mask, and this will make sense in a second. Grab my magic wand on my border layer, and I'm going to hold down the shift key and select all the white spots in the border layer. I could go and really get into the scrolls, but that's actually not necessary for this, since I don't believe there's going to be artwork in the scroll area. One quick expansion of the selection, about 1/10 of a millimeter. Come down to the mask folder, layer, layer mask, mask out of selection. And if you look over here on the layer folder, there's now a mask. If you want to make that visible, come over here, click this button, click show mask area. And now we have the masking area. I'm going to clean up this a little bit. Now we have a border layer and we have a masking layer. I'm going to throw in a drawing layer inside there. And now if I grab my pen, or I'll grab a pencil, start drawing, it works just like a regular frame would. Now here's where this gets very useful. One of the things that we want to be able to do when we create something as complex as this frame set, it would be nice to be able to use this over and over again. And to do that, you just add this to the materials folder. I removed those extra layers that you saw there because we really only want the layers that we want saved to materials. We just want the border layer, we want the mask, and then, you know, optionally, you can put in a drawing layer. You come up to the main menu, select Edit, Register Layer as Template Material, come down to Manga Material, Framing Template, and we'll call this Fancy Template. I press OK, and now if I bring up the menu, the Framing Template folder, our Fancy Template is there ready to go. Now this can be used in one of two ways. You can have a blank sheet of paper and just drag this on, or what I like to do, come up here, create a template. So let's say new Fancy. It's an 8.5 by 11. I have it at 600 dpi. Let's go to 300 dpi. Select the template, come down, I'm going to select my Fancy template, hit OK, hit OK, and there we go. Now you have this Fancy template ready to be used over and over again for as many times as you need, and you can use it at any resolution that you want. I hope you find this helpful, and I will see you all later.